You're listening to The Sweep.
Hey, open up or I'm opening it for you.
The first thing I want to ask is, what is Glychopop?
It's Gloich Pop, number one.
Gloich Pop. Okay.
Gloich Pop. Now, a lot of people rightfully read that and go, Glitch Pop, which is also an accurate vocab word, I think, for the sound. But no, it's Gloich Pop, which honestly, it's kind of like onomatopoeia. Like, it's a bit of a made-up word. The etymology of it is nonsensical. Like, it doesn't have to do, like, it didn't come from, like, Gloich Pop or Glitch Pop. It didn't come from anywhere but my brain. And it just sounded kind of like an accurate utterance for what my music sounds like. You know, my music is off kilter and kind of all over the place. There's a little bit of a goofy aspect. And I just felt like Gloich Pop was a word that kind of encapsulates that, all that stuff.
Yeah, because I believe when I looked up the term, you're like the first person that comes up. I'm a little bit in the VTuber community, so there were some female VTubers that listen to actual glitch pop, but that seems to be more of a like a Korean and Japanese style of music, much different than like some of the stuff I heard from you. And I'm trying to remember some of the questions that we had. I know we had a lot. I know that you had a surprise listening to the show by being shocked that we liked your bonus song on your first EP.
The worst song I've ever released. yeah.
Absolutely not. I think it breaks our like top 5 or somewhere around there.
It does, yeah. That blew me away.
Yeah, I think your first song on your EP, on your first EP, is the one that we rated the lowest by a mile.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I'm so intrigued to talk to you about all this stuff because there's so much we could back and forth on. Like, yeah, Child Grows, that first song. First of all, totally understand how it would put somebody off. Like, it's a very off-kilter song. Like, it's hard to find the rhythm. There's not really a chord progression. Like, it's a challenging song, I guess you could say. The funniest thing is that was probably, like, my first bigger hit.
Oh, wow.
It was one of my more, like, initially, like, before I released Good Weird, that was the song everyone cared about, and I really thought they would have liked some other songs on that EP. And that's not to say, like, you didn't get it, man. Because I'm surprised, too. I was surprised at the time that, like, anyone liked my stuff. I thought I was kind of making it for myself, and I was lucky if anyone like got it. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
Okay. Now, how surprised were you by our top 2, which is Headbang and Hard Look?
All right. You know, I liked that Headbang made it up there because I think that's a super solid, super good song that I think the message is graspable. I think it's relatable. I do think it has what I like about making music in there, but I do think it airs more on the side of convention. So, but not enough people talk about that song, so I was pumped for it, honestly. I was like, that's great. It's a fantastic pick. Now, Hard Look, I also get it. Like, that was somewhat popular in my discography, I guess. I think it's kind of like, it sounds like the fucking Wiggles or something. I'm like done with that song. I don't play it. Like, people want me to play it live. I don't play it. I see why you liked Hard Look. Good picks. I would say Headbang, people usually skip over, but I was happy to see you get some love.
Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of people have ADHD and things like that. So before this interview gets incredibly long, I just want to give you the opportunity to ask any burning questions or stuff that you want to talk about, that you've been dying to talk about. Because I have more of a list that I can go through. But I don't want you to forget something and be like, man, I wish I would have talked about that. So is there anything specifically you want to just jump into?
No, I think we're good to go down your list.
Alrighty. I did see that you did a tour, the recorded one that's in Nashville, I'm assuming. I did see that you went to Dallas, obviously, before I started doing this show. So we did barely miss you. Is there any other tours coming up in the future?
Man, nothing yet. So that you watched the live Haha Yeah album release show, that was a one-off show just for that album that happened in November of 2022 in Nashville.
Okay. So the other tour was separate, the one that you had recently, right?
Yeah, the tour last fall, we did go to Nashville, and yes, we did play Dallas for the first time, which was very fun. And in Dallas, After my set, I had this girl walk up to the stage and hand me a handmade bracelet that just said "piss" on it.
Yeah, that sounds like Dallas. Yeah. Well, if you ever come back, we'll definitely be at your show.
That sounds like Dallas. I was gonna say that sounds like one of my fans.
Your Discord is quite the interesting place, I must say.
It's the best place on earth.
To just jump straight into this question was much later, but I think that's a good jumping off point. Just being in your Discord for the short amount of time that I have been, I've seen many people come in and post about getting the free CD. So is that a very lucrative thing of getting your music out there? Because it seems like it's working very well. I'm sure you're losing money, but it seems like you're growing your fan base.
I am gonna just tell all about this CD thing right now. All right.
It's a very popular marketing thing. My whole podcast is based around it.
That's right. Well, you can thank me for that, because if you see one of those ads, I probably taught that person how to do it.
You were the first person. Yeah. Well, at least top 3. And I specifically chose you just for the Pokemon cards.
So let me guess. Like, you've probably seen Brain Tenna, the Jansen Boys, Groovy Kaiju, Taylor Bradshaw.
Oh no.
Are any of these right?
My second episode is Brain Tenna.
Brain Tenna? I just talked to Brain Tenna today.
Yeah, I just got his shot glass and his note and everything, and we break it down in parts. When you were listening to yours, how we broke it down. Number 1, because we get tired and we don't want to be low judging music later on in the show because we're not refreshed. And then also sometimes I drink, and obviously she smokes. So sometimes we get too high and or drunk to continue. So we did all of their first album, and then we just still have their second EP. I don't know when this interview will come out, but yeah, the second episode will be about them. Please don't listen because because we might have rated some of their songs higher. So Basic Printer will always be number 1. Don't worry.
In the sense that I was first.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the situation with the CD thing. To directly answer your question, you said, is it lucrative? It's basically a perfectly break-even venture. In the sense that if I'm making money on it, I reinvest it until I'm spending an amount of money a day on ads to generate these CD purchases, and I'm making more than that amount of money I'm spending over and over again. I scale up the ad spend until it's basically break even, because I want to maximize the amount of fans I'm reaching. Because that's more people that get into the Discord, it's more people that get into like my emails, more people following me, and then it's just like over time, the more stuff I do, that's more where money can come in to actually, I'm saying like it's not like I'm keeping literally any money from BP. I have not held on to a single dollar ever. I've only ever lost money on it, and that's kind of just been by design. Like, I've just chosen to reinvest everything pretty hardcore. But the fact that the fan base is such where it's like, if I come out with a new album, I have enough people there that will buy a vinyl or whatever that I can make a vinyl. Like, that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? But, I would rather do that than like attempt to make $5 a day selling free CDs to everybody, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, just an addendum to that all is like, and I used to be precious and like secretive about this information for some reason, but I don't really give a fuck anymore. Like, my day job is teaching musicians how to run ads for their music. And I didn't pioneer the CD thing, but damn near. And I've been doing it since 2019. And like, if you see one of these ads, it's because I personally coach someone on how to do them, most likely. Or it's somebody like looking over the fence and trying to copy one of my students or mate or something.
I am so thankful then that I chose you as the first episode, because I can thank you as like basically the podcast is all about this, because I had a previous show that was also called The Sweep. So we rebranded it as Sweep, Remixed and Reloaded. That was more just a variety show with what have you. But when I started seeing these ads, I wanted to get these CDs just to check them out, because I love physical media. Again, not a huge music person. I just like physical media. It just appealed to me. But then I debated on writing a blog or something of that nature, and me and my girlfriend, which is the co-host, was a few months into the relationship, and she's a huge music person. So I was like, shoot, let me just rebrand the podcast and do this. And I kid you not, I started clicking on some of the bands, like you and Braintan and stuff, to start looking into it. And I think we talked about this on the podcast. I have like 270 bands now that do this on a Google spreadsheet of trying to like figure out which one I want to do next. So yeah, you basically invented this podcast. So congratulations.
Thank you. I feel very accomplished on accident.
And you know, my name is Daddy White on the show, so feel free to call me Daddy at any point during this interview.
Okay. Sounds like you're asking for that explicitly, but...
Are you a Nashville native?
No, I'm from Binghamton, New York.
Okay, so we talked about this on the podcast. One of your songs was a city in New York. I don't know if that was meant to be the city, but we looked it up because we didn't know what the word was, and it popped up. First thing was a city in New York. I think it was Akia or something of that nature.
Ithaca.
Yes.
Yeah, Ithaca is, I guess it qualifies as a city. It's a city, the city of Ithaca. It was almost an hour north of Binghamton. And yeah, it's a place I visited many times that I thought had a magical atmosphere. And I dated someone in high school that to college up there at Cornell, which is also a song name on that album. And
oh, yes, you're correct.
Some of our relationship was like conducted up there, and so I have like a lot of associations with that person and that place, on top of it just being kind of an intoxicating place. So it's kind of the idea behind those two songs somewhat.
Okay, yeah, we actually talked about whether we thought it was Chris Cornell that was related to that song.
Yeah, I remember it.
So what about Pittsburgh? Because that was another one where we were like, oh,
yes.
Well, maybe. And then I'll get into my second question if you want to talk about the Pittsburgh song. And then the reason why I asked if you were a Nashville native is I was wondering, you talked about the one-off concert. Why specifically Nashville instead of like doing something closer to home in like New York?
Pittsburgh that whole album is kind of Fantastic Wrist, is looking at a relationship I was in. It's kind of using that relationship as a backdrop for like self-love and like realizations and it was just using that relationship, reflecting the relationship to kind of to explore like, oh, here's ways that I've been shitty, or here's things that I'm not great at, or here's a common ailment of mine, or like, how can I like supersede these things? And it's kind of landing at the place of like, well, this is all stemming from not really accepting yourself. It's like an album about self-acceptance. I know this answer is more than you bargained for, but it's called Fantastic Wrist because all throughout my life, I liked how my wrists look, which I know is kind of a random, somewhat menial thing to zone in on, but like in a state when
we don't kink shame.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank God. When you're in a state of not thinking you can do anything right or thinking you're just holistically garbage, and then to be like, but at least this little feature of myself I like. It's kind of like a little opening. Okay, you know what it feels like to kind of like yourself. And so like the Fantastic Wrist is kind of saying like, this is the key out of it. Like this tiny little thing can be your savior. Anyways, the point is, now backpedaling a little bit more, that relationship, there's a lot of anecdotes and like details about the relationship in this album that's used as, again, like a backdrop for those themes. And so I'm talking about like being in Ithaca. I'm talking about like how traveling to and from Cornell had a thing. And this person ended up moving to Pittsburgh later.
Okay.
We had been through all sorts of like talking, not talking, and going through phases and stuff. Many, many, many years later, after that relationship ended, it like reconnected in Pittsburgh a few times, and that place now had this weird relevance that it didn't have before. And that's kind of what that song is for.
So Fantastic Wrist is about self-pleasure, I see.
There you go. Yeah. Yes. Perfectly interpreted.
Apologize for the humorness. Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. When I listened to your podcast, one thing I wanted to say to you was like, it's very lighthearted. It's very chummy. It's very fun. It's very funny. The editing was all over the place and awesome. Like the podcast itself is great. Like it almost felt like we were playing N64 and like eating pizza, drinking beer for like 3 hours together, but you were not with me.
That is something that we talked about when we talked about not just reviewing the music, but also possibly getting some sales to some of these independent artists because the people might want to buy it. That's why we talk about the different ways to listen to the show. But one of the other things that we discussed was if these individuals do buy it and listen along with us, it would be like a few friends hanging out listening to music. And there's many people that I know that are very just lonely individuals that just don't have a lot of friends and stuff. And if that's, 3 hours that they can sit down, discover new music, and feel like they're hanging out with a group of people, that is good in my book. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome, and think you're a great host, and the concept's great. And I was having a blast.
So I'm assuming what you were about to say earlier was that you are now living in Nashville? Is this what's going on?
Yeah. I lived in Binghamton for 23 years, moved to Nashville like 10 years ago.
All right, so you're a little bit older than me. Yeah, and I didn't get any copyright strikes from you, so I think I used everything pretty fair use, so that was good.
That was another thing. The fact that you had like almost interpretive, like you could have just played a snippet of the song, but every song had its own little companion sample, and you would use the instrumentals, and you pick different parts. Like, put a ton of work into that.
Yeah, so one of the biggest criticisms I used to get about the old format is that I overproduced the show. And a lot of people, I forget that my demographic that listens to me, especially back in the old show, was 19 to 24 males were the big demographic. It's like 80% of my viewer base. I forget that they're used to like a Joe Rogan style sit down 3 hours of straight talk. I grew up listening to radio.
Yeah.
I always come in and out and they're like, you're listening to The Sweep live on YouTube.
Right.
And it's like, here's your host. Like that, those kind of bumpers and stuff I loved. So I've always overproduced podcasts way more than like just standard people do. When I did this reboot, I was specific, like, okay, every song we listen to is going to have like a snippet of the song, and I'm going to put all these bumpers because at the previous show, I don't know if you watch anime and stuff. As you noticed in the show, a lot of anime voice actors had done openings for me.
Yes.
And YouTubers and stuff.
Yes.
Be like, yeah, I'm Android 16 in Dragon Ball Z, and you're listening to The Sleep. I'm like, that's cool, right? Right? Oh man, I just noticed I don't have Morgan Berry in that episode. I need to go find hers.
Yeah, or you just buy another cameo.
So for a small portion of my life, relative to my entire age, I'd say for like 5 years, I was a very big convention goer.
Okay.
So it got to where these individuals would see me, especially living in Dallas, where a lot of the voice actors live.
Mm.
The biggest voice actor anime hubs are Dallas, Houston, New York, Los Angeles, and Toronto, Canada. And I would see these same people over and over again for about 5 times a year to where they got to know me. So I used to just email them, be like, hey, it's me. Can I send you like $20? And this is kind of when a lot of them weren't on Cameo and stuff at the time. I'd probably say from like 2015 to like 2020. And COVID's actually when they all started joining these websites. But yeah, I've collected them over the years. I even got Mark from The Room. So.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
There's a few other questions we asked. I don't know if you want to answer. Okay, marijuana, dick size. Okay, let's continue.
That's right. You did you did go for all it. I'll speak on them. You did talk about like Warfield tells his dick size. Which, first of all, you don't know if I have a dick. Like people think I'm transgender all the time. I
tried not to touch on that to be mean or insensitive, but yeah, we were like, yeah, he has a higher pitch registry, but that's right. Just some guys do. But yeah, you could be trans. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know you're not because you subscribed to my channel with your old YouTube, and I saw short hair, young Jesse. Yes. Unless you transitioned super early.
I was ahead, man.
I mean, it still looks like you just don't have long hair.
I'd always fancied myself someone that like always looked 17. I don't think I look 17 anymore, but I think I can. I think if I shaved and cut my hair and like wore a certain outfit, you'd be like, oh, it's like a 14-year-old kid.
You should join the Sting programs and work for like To Catch a Predator.
Do the old Steve Buscemi. What's up, fellow kids?
Yeah, there you go. You were going to speak on the marijuana, the devil's lettuce, as it were.
Now, what did you actually propose in the podcast? Like, what was your curiosity with that? You just didn't know if I partook?
I have no idea. So remember, this was a few days of recording, and I was drinking during some of it. I have no idea. We just we spout nonsense, and sometimes I remember what I spouted, but not the reasoning behind it. I have no idea. I mean, possibly just because of like your music. It's very trippy. Well, I mean, I guess I would assume, or I would ask if you took anything besides marijuana, to come up with music ideas.
Okay, like in college, I drank a fair amount. I, played around with that. None of that was ever inspirational for music, though. It's not like I would be like drinking and writing. I had released 6 albums before the EP that are on Bandcamp, but didn't really get like a proper release. And so like I wrote 6 albums. I wrote the EP. I wrote Good Weird. I wrote Fantastic Risk. And I think every single ounce of all of those songs were written entirely sober. Pretty sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Like I definitely am just naturally like that with the creativity. I do not need a push for ideas. Like my ideas I'm probably neurodivergent. I keep peeling back the layer and being like, you're probably neurodivergent. And it's kind of goes with, okay, I look at my music and I'm like, all right, neurotypical music is like what? Like the Noah Khan or some shit? I am the anti-Noah Khan, So
okay.
I have like toned back my drinking a ton. I'll have a drink every fucking 2 weeks, maybe. And I've definitely like lightened up a lot to weed too. Like I definitely get high a lot in my life. I would say recently it's been more of a regular thing. And I might even say that it's toned my music down, if anything. Like my music has gotten more...
Yeah, more mellow, yeah.
Straightforward. But maybe, you know what? Maybe you're making me realize something. Maybe it is a little more mellow.
Well, I think I posted in your Discord, I was watching arena football, and I think on my bed there was just this large variety of alcohols. I'm a pretty heavy drinker, and then Cookie's a heavy smoker. We mesh well together.
I was gonna say, it's kind of fun. Everyone has their things, whether it's an inebriance or not, and it's just a matter of, you do what you do to enjoy life at this time, and all come together with your own thing. More the merrier.
You did touch on something that I was gonna ask, because you talked about a bunch of albums that you released that never got proper releases, because on your website it says you wrote 7 or 11 albums, but you only have an EP and 3 albums that are officially released.
Yeah.
So those are the previous ones that are mentioned?
Yes, and so the full gamut. The first ever thing I released was an EP called Lonia, and it had, I think, 5 songs on it. I believe all 5 of those songs became my next release, but with more music surrounding it, called Poor Ian, which was an album. Those were the first 2. Then I did 5 more albums, so that's an EP and 6 albums. And then I kind of hit all that, moved to Nashville. Then I did the EP, The Weird Fantastic Risk. Haha, yes, that's 11 total releases.
Got you.
Neon lights flash. Wake up. Log in.
All facts, no printer. All facts, no printer. All facts, no printer. I said all facts, no printer.
We're running these loops, frame by frame. Avatar and pixels, they aren't the same.
All facts, no printer. All facts, no printer. All facts, no printer. I said all facts, no printer. So, it's time. I did a short song trying to mimic your style called All Facts, No Printer. I was having some difficulty because you kind of chop up music to where the one song sounds like multiple different songs put together, but you were much better at melding those together than I was. So mine are still pretty sharp, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I just wanted to try my best and put it out there. Because again, I'm not a music person. Now I am an artist. I don't know if you saw all the Pokemon on there when we were doing the whatever amount of Pokemon. I drew all of those. I do believe that if you can do one form of art, you can do all. I even think I'm a good cook just because I'm an artist. So, like you, I feel like if you're a good musician, you can draw, you can paint, you can play guitar, you can cook, any form of art if you put your mind to it. Because I think there's artists and then there's not artists. Two kind of people in this world. You know?
Oh, really?
I do feel that way, yes.
I think that we are all artists and just some give themselves permission to actually explore it. And I kind of might even say that probably this coincides with like a higher self. Like I think you only expand your impact and joy in your life the more you embrace your inner artist.
I have a talent versus training mentality. I feel like everybody could be good at art, but some people are just going to be born to me as artists that are going to be naturally gifted. And then somebody can draw every day, 10 times a day for 10 years, and they're going to be a great artist. That's how I view the world.
Yes.
But everybody has their own views. I accidentally went a little political in the episode too, so cut that part. But my views, you talk about the neurodivergent and what have you. I have a hard time not leaking in my beliefs of whatever caliber, whether it be society or just politics or religion or in general.
It's good for a podcast.
Sometimes. I don't know if you noticed, but we skipped Ninetales when we did that episode.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you your thoughts on my recording and how many Ninetales out of 100 you would give it.
Oh my god. I already know what I would give you.
Okay.
And I would give you 100 Ninetales.
Then I hope it's because I mimicked your style and that not that it was good quality music.
All right. Well, here's my reasoning.
But continue.
First of all, and this relates to what we just said, I don't believe in good or bad art. I believe in compelling or non-compelling art. Like the worst song you don't remember because it did not impact you at all. Like you can't even speak to the worst song because the worst song does not imprint you at all, in my view. Versus like all the songs that people love to hate. I mean, these songs are highly compelling. They're like stoking so much action amongst humanity. I think that makes a good song no matter. It's almost like it or not, it's an amazing song. It's doing a lot of shit. For me, I'm voting 100 partially because a rating system out of 100 doesn't comport with my philosophy. Because like 100 would say,
got you.
100 kind of defies. I'm like, no, it's art. It exists. It is 100 out of 100. And I would say your song was really good. Like, especially the fact that you barely had time to put it together. But I did see the way in which you were kind of tracing over the style, trying to do it. But I did think it was like pretty different from something I would make.
I mean, understandable. Yeah. I was listening to it and I was like, I'm trying to mimic his style as best as I can. But yeah, I did my best with the time allotted. Feel free to contact me to be a guest on the next. I'll be the next Florida.
Florida,
next
yeah.
album, so that's the only one I can remember.
Right. Yeah, there's I haven't had many. It was Del Florida, Cryptic One, and AJ Crew. I think that's all of the features I've ever done so far. Oh, Attila too, but you didn't review the newest songs I put out.
Is that the signed one with you with a guitar and the black background?
Signed one with me and the guitar.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Moonlight Show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right. technically, the story with that was I was on this tour in the fall that we were just talking about, opening for Under the Rug, and Under the Rug got sick, and they had to cancel 3 of our the shows on the tour. But we were opening, and we weren't sick, so we were disappointed, but we were like, okay, come on, we can do something. Like, let's figure out how to get a show going in place of one of these canceled shows. And we were in Columbus, Ohio, and I had a friend in Ohio that runs a studio, and we quickly asked him like if he could host a show, like a secret show at his studio within a few hours' notice. And he was like, yeah, this sounds fucking fun. So he ended up doing it. I like reached out to everybody, like a bunch of fans. We got like 15 people in there for free. Like all kind of like secret private show, and we recorded the whole thing, and then I put it out later on a CD, and I just limited it to 100 CDs to kind of like be like, hey, this thing happened, genius. And like, well, thanks, man.
Okay, sorry, continue. Yeah, I was just saying your marketing's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew people would like it, and that's all there is to it. It's like, I mean, there's a lot going on for a release like that. It's like there's such a story behind it, and the whole point of getting the CD is that you can hear the actual thing unfold, and like the implications of that show, and being like, whoa, like they're in the middle of this crazy shit, and they played this show that I'm listening to. Like, that's super cool, a cool musical experience, and then. Yeah, that story's interesting. I thought people would really want to hear it. And I got the best people. Like, they're so good to me, the whole Discord and everything.
Nice. And I do see the Steering Wheel EP now. Now, we did talk about later in the podcast history to go back and do follow-ups on some of the bands that we originally listened to. So at some point, this interview will be called episode 1.5, and then eventually later on we'll go back and be like, oh, Basic Printer Jesse released all this music since we recorded the episode, and we'll listen to that, and it'll be episode 1.75. So
oh, great. And it just always approaches 2 but never is 2.
Yeah, we're big into edging in this podcast.
Oh, beautiful. No, who doesn't like that?
Well, so like, for example, Braintenna, if they release more music, it'll be like 2.75, etc. So it'll always be like a slight continuation of the episode that initially started it.
Nice. I love it.
But yeah, definitely let me know if you come back to Dallas, or I'll probably be following your socials, so I will know, but we'll definitely have to be there.
Oh yeah.
To listen live, the first person we did.
I want to tour again so bad. It's just hard to get a tour together if you're not bigger. Like, it's tough. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, dude, if you'll hear about it if I'm down there.
Another question is, what is Basic Printer? I had this question because it seems like it's just you, but then there's a band.
Right. Clearest answer is that it is me. I'm the director of this whole thing, and so often it's just me. And sometimes my friends join me, or I hire people to join me, or both. And it's just whatever I want it to be at the time. Like, it's mostly me alone in my studio, in my house. But sometimes I'm like passing stuff between friends, and they're weighing in on it, or suggesting things, or they're playing something, or we're jamming on one of my songs, and then we shoot like a video for Instagram, and it's like, oh, these 3 people are playing this, but this is the first time we ever did it, and like they're not even in the band or anything like that. So it could be anything. Like for the tour, it was a trio. I had a drummer, my friend Aaron, and my friend Mick on keys, and me on guitar. And before that, it was just me and Aaron, and before that, it was 4 guys. So it's just whatever I want it to be.
You couldn't have one extra guy, because then you'd have 5 guys, and there'd be a lawsuit.
It'd be like a burger thing.
You also have a talking printer.
Yes, I did Printerino.
Yes, you did. That was very cute. We enjoyed that watching the show. Actually, we had not yet watched the rest of that. I still need to do that.
I was blown away you went that far with it and watched the live album too.
Yeah, no. So the thing is, spoiler alert if this comes out earlier, Like Braintenna, they have a first EP or first album. I don't know what it is because we didn't listen to it. But the thing is, if the website doesn't let us get a good discount on it, like yours ask, it's like, okay, we'll give this 50% off, this 40. And I ended up with your entire discography, right? So if it doesn't come with the website deal, then we don't review it. So you were the first one that we did, and we got your entire discography because it continued to ask me to add more albums. For example, like Braintenna, I got a Shot Glass and 2 of their 3 albums. So that's just what it is. But yeah, we listened to that album. We listened to the studio followed by the video live. But yeah, we still haven't watched because after you do the entire album, you do hits of yours afterwards.
I love it.
We have not watched that yet, but we'll do that in our leisure.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. You answered a lot of our questions, so I appreciate that.
Pretty open book.
We did come in completely blind. Besides the little bit of research I did see you buy a printer.
Yeah.
Since you are a basic printer, you bought a basic printer. Yeah, that was a good skit.
Fun.
I think that's it. We really enjoyed listening to all your music over the course of a few weeks, a few days of recording.
Wild.
It was an experience to start from the beginning to the current day. Well, not current, but I'm sure we'll cycle back at some point. You're always free to send us free stuff, and we'll. No, I'm joking. So you gotta keep the con grift going.
That's right.
But thank you so much for doing the interview, and I appreciate you listening to the music I tried to make, mimicking your music, and listening to the entire podcast, and even in part sharing a portion of your fan base with us as well.
Oh my God, you're welcome. If anyone who is compelled to listen to all my music and talk about it, I mean, you made something about it, both in terms of the podcast and the song. It's like everything I could want. You know, it's like I'm just happy to validate your interest in what I'm doing. Like, so I'm happy to be on, and I love talking about this stuff. So thank you for listening. Thank you for having me on.
In the old podcast format, we used to sign off by saying "Haben einen guten Tag," which is German for "have a good day." "Arigato gozaimasu," which is "thank you very much" in Japanese, and "Tu madre es pollo," which is "your mother is chicken" in Spanish. So.
Please just play the fucking game. Please.